Imagine the vast, darkening expanse of the sky meeting the cold, indifferent waters of Australia's Bass Strait. On October 21st, 1978, as twilight bled the warmth from the day, this lonely stretch of sea and air became the stage for one of aviation's most baffling and chilling mysteries. 20-year-old pilot Frederick Valentich, with around 150 hours of flight time, was at the controls of his small Cessna airplane, call sign Delta Sierra Juliet, undertaking what should have been a routine flight from Moorabbin Airport near Melbourne to King Island. The weather was clear, visibility perfect. Nothing suggested this flight would be his last, ending not with a destination logged, but with an unnerving silence and a transcript that reads like a descent into the unknown. Alone above the waves, Valentich was about to make a flight that leaves people still baffled and conspiracy theorists intrigued. His journey began normally. Taking off just after sunset, Valentich climbed into the darkening sky, reporting his position as expected. He communicated with Melbourne Flight Service, everything routine. Below, the coastline receded, replaced by the vast, darkening mirror of the Bass Strait. At 7:06 p.m., roughly halfway through his flight, Valentich radioed Cape Otway, confirming there was no other known air traffic near his position, 4,500 feet above the water. The sky, officially, was empty except for him. But just 6 minutes later, a transmission crackled through to Melbourne Flight Service controller, Steve Roby, shattering the silence of what had been an overly calm evening. "Melbourne, this is Delta Sierra Juliet." Valentich's voice came over the radio. "Is there any known traffic below 5,000? Roby confirmed there was none. But Valentich insisted. "I see something. It seems to be a large aircraft below 5,000. Puzzled, Roby asked for the aircraft type. "I cannot affirm," Valentich replied, his voice betraying a hint of uncertainty. "It is for bright. It seems to me like landing lights." This was the first sign that something was profoundly wrong. Moments later, the situation escalated. Valentich reported the unidentified aircraft had passed rapidly over him, at least 1,000 feet above. His query about nearby Air Force activity was met with a negative from Roby. No known aircraft were in the vicinity. The mystery deepened, isolation pressing in. Then came the chilling report. "It seems like it's chasing me," Valentich stated, his professional composure starting to fray. He described how the object was orbiting above him as he flew in circles, trying to get a better look. "It has a green light," he elaborated, "and sort of metallic-like. It's all shiny on the outside." The controller, Steve Roby, could only acknowledge the bizarre reports, attempting to keep the pilot calm while scrambling for answers that weren't there. The object, Valentich reported, was hovering menacingly above his small Cessna. He struggled to estimate its size, emphasizing its strange stationary hovering capability, before adding abruptly, "It just vanished." A brief pause hung in the air, a fleeting moment where perhaps normalcy might return. But it was short-lived. "It's approaching now from the southwest," Valentich suddenly announced, his voice tight with renewed alarm. The unseen entity was back, its intentions unknown, its nature defying identification. The situation grew critical as Valentich reported engine trouble, his Cessna's engine suddenly running rough. Yet even amidst mechanical issues and the stress of the unknown, his focus remained on the object above. "That strange aircraft is hovering on top of me again," he relayed, followed by the definitive, terrifying statement that would seal this incident in the annals of the unexplained. "It is hovering, and it's not an aircraft." Those words, "it's not an aircraft," marked the point of no return. What was Valentich encountering? Roby confirmed the pilot's altitude, or 4,300 feet, and instructed him to maintain it. Valentich acknowledged Melbourne, and then his microphone keyed open, broadcasting 17 seconds of chilling, agonizing silence over the frequency. The silence was finally broken, not by words, but by a sound that defies easy explanation. A series of harsh, metallic, scraping or clicking noises, lasting for several seconds, transmitted clearly across the vast distance. Then, as abruptly as it began, the transmission ceased. The carrier wave cut out. Silence. Roby called out repeatedly, "Delta Sierra Juliet, Melbourne. Delta Sierra Juliet, Melbourne." But there was no reply. Frederick Valentich and his Cessna 182L had vanished. The response was immediate. An extensive air and sea search was launched, combing thousands of square miles of the Bass Strait for 4 long days. Search planes scanned from above. Boats navigated the waves below, all looking for any sign, wreckage, an oil slick, personal effects, anything. They found absolutely nothing. It was as if the pilot and his plane had been plucked from the sky, leaving no trace behind. The official investigation by Australia's Department of Transport could only conclude the cause was undetermined. They acknowledged Valentich's report, but could offer no definitive explanation for the lights, the object, the final sounds, or the complete disappearance. Naturally, theories abound. Many believe Valentich had a genuine encounter with an unidentified flying object, pointing to his detailed descriptions, the object's seemingly non-aerodynamic behavior, and those final, disturbing sounds as evidence of abduction or destruction by unknown technology. Others favor more conventional explanations, suggesting pilot disorientation. Flying over dark water at twilight can play tricks on the senses. Perhaps Valentich mistook lights from boats, islands, or even his own landing lights reflected on the water for another craft. Could he have entered a graveyard spiral, losing control while thinking he was stable? The metallic sounds being the final moments of structural stress before impact. While plausible, disorientation doesn't perfectly align with the specific details Valentich reported, or his apparent coherence until the very end. Less likely, theories involving suicide or staged disappearances lack any supporting evidence. 46 years later, the Frederick Valentich case remains stubbornly unresolved. His family never found closure, left only with the haunting transcript of his final moments. The incident endures as a chilling piece of aviation lore and a key event for UFO researchers. What truly happened in the skies over Bass Strait that evening? What were the lights, the metallic craft, the scraping sounds? Frederick Valentich flew into a mystery, broadcasting his encounter with the unknown until the very edge of silence. His last transmission serves as a stark reminder that even in our well-mapped world, there are still pockets of profound darkness and unanswered questions that linger, suspended somewhere between the sea and the stars. If you want to hear more stories like this one, click that like button below and subscribe to the Brink of Darkness, the untold stories of survival.